name is Matt Nolan, founder and owner of A Plus Credit. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about credit scoring and how it's comprised. I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about credit and credit scoring, so I want to kind of address a couple of the main things that go into your credit score. First of all, one of the things I think people get involved in is they hear bits and pieces of information. Do a lot of inquiries hurt my credit? If I open a bunch of new credit cards, does that hurt my credit? The answer to these could vary depending on each individual situation. So today I want to kind of talk to you about how your credit score is built. There's 5 basic components that go into your credit score. And the largest piece of that is your credit history, which it obviously makes sense, how you've paid people in the past. But that's only 35% of how your credit score is comprised. So yes, it is the largest piece, but there's a lot of other things that go into it. Then one misconception I think is if everyone thinks that they make their payments on time, you'll never have any credit issues out there whatsoever. Well, that is true in most cases, except for the fact that 35% of your score there's still 65% left out there. So what goes into the other piece of it? Well, let's talk about it a little bit. The next major component is your utilization or amounts owed. So how much of your credit you're utilizing. And a lot of this comes into play on your revolving debt, which is like a credit card. So let's take a look at if you had a $1,000 credit card, the bank is willing to give you $1,000, and you spend $990 on that. You're making all your payments on time, so you think you're doing everything correct. Well, the bottom line to it is if you're using $990 of that $1,000 available line, you're at 99% what they call is utilization. You're utilizing that much of your card. Well, the way the scoring model looks at that, that's a negative item for you. You want to keep that at 30% or less as far as your utilization percentage. So that is 30% of your credit score. And I think that's probably the most underlooked item on your credit score on how your credit score could be lower than what you actually think it may be because you might have a high utilization percentage. So those are the top 2 items, but what's the rest? Well, the next item is 15%, and that's length of credit history. So anybody that's 18, 19, 20 years old, this is going to be a pretty small piece for you because you don't have time, or you haven't had the time to establish a long credit history. But that's only 15% of your score, but that's kind of where some of the misconceptions come into play. Is it a good idea to close some old cards or keep the old cards open? Well, typically we say you want to keep about 3 to 4 cards open at the max. And if you've got a card that's been open for 15 years, you probably want to keep that open unless you're getting hit with a bunch of fees on an annual or monthly basis. So that's the top 3. So you've got your payment history, which is 35%. You've got 30% from amounts owed. And then you've got 15% from the length of credit history. The other 2 items are smaller piece. They're both 10% of your credit score. But the next one would be new credit. Are you going out and opening a bunch of new credit? The reason why this is a factor in your credit scoring model is if you go through, let's say, the mall around Christmas time, everybody in the world is going to hit you up for their store brand credit card. And if you go open 15, 20 of those things, well, that's going to drastically reduce your credit score. For one, you're going to have a bunch of inquiries on your bureau. But for 2, you're going to have a bunch of new credit that you don't have any established pay history on. Okay? The last piece is going to be the types of credit used. And the types of credit, there's in essence 2 different types of credit. First is going to be installment debt, which is going to be like a mortgage. Anything with a set payback. So your installment's going to be a mortgage, an auto loan, an RV loan, a boat loan, anything that's going to have a set payback to it. Now a revolving debt is going to be like a credit card, home equity line of credit. So anything that's going to have a revolving balance as well as a revolving pay history or a payment. So those are the top 5 things. I'm going to recap them as well here. You get the payment history, which again is 35%, is the top percentage. But then you've got your utilization percentage, your amounts owed. That's going to be 30% of your credit history or your credit score. And then you've got length of credit history. That's going to be 15%. New credit, if you've opened new credit in the short period of time, as well as types of credit used. and those are going to be rounded out to the last 10% of each. Hopefully I've given you a little bit of an insight on how your credit score is comprised. If you need additional assistance, please don't hesitate to give me a call. My phone number is 515-490-4113. Again, 515-490-4113. Thank you very much and have a nice day.